Oh, am I live? Does it say I'm live? I don't know if I'm live on Facebook.
You're live on something.
I'm live on YouTube for sure. Is that Facebook?
That's YouTube.
Can you check Facebook? Hi guys, give me a second. We're ironing out some bugs. Doot, 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 doot.
It'll be under here, right?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't think so. I'm having it's glitching.
You want to just try mine?
Yeah. I think I'm still suspended. Oh yeah, it is broken.
No Facebook today.
I'm gonna do your password now.
I don't have to.
Why is everything different? It's making me angry. No, we'll still do Facebook. We'll just do it off your page. Sorry, YouTube. Give me a second, YouTube. I'm sorry, dude. We've got technical difficulties. And that should be public. And if you don't mind, you can share it to my page, too. Let me move your drink, Yogi.
Okay.
Okay. We are live on that. Let me fix this. And then I guess all that's left after that is Instagram. I'm gonna take off my mask so that the deaf community can read my lips. Because I can't sign fast enough. Sorry. Let's go. I get really faster at that sentence every week, though. I'll tell you that. We're still waiting for Instagram to pop up. Why don't we avoid the pop culture news thing until we have Instagram up? We were discussing what lore. We were discussing the green door this week and the red door. And we think that the red door in the Immortal Hulk series allows people to keep their memory better because Savage Hulk and Joe Fixit certainly know that they've been brought back to life by something and it involves the leader. Right. They're pretty pissed off at him. So, yeah. Are we good?
I think we're good. Hi, guys.
Hi.
All right, you are live.
Am I? Your hand is live, that's for sure.
My hand is live.
Your hand is live.
Live hand.
Let me see. So we're discussing that. What else? Do we have pop culture news for this week?
Ron Perlman is voicing Optimus Primal in the Transformers: Rise of the Beast.
I can actually see that. I'm cool with that. Ron Perlman's voicing Optimus Primal. I confess, I know goddamn nothing about Beast Wars, which is why reviewing the comics is very strange for me. Any other pop culture news?
I know we said it at the end of the video last week, but if you want to tell people about Dominic Pace again, that'd be great.
Dominic Pace getting a day in Texas?
Holiday. Yeah.
Texas holiday, Gecko Day, I guess it is.
Yeah. He's really coming up, man. He's taking another tour across the nation.
Yeah.
What else is going on? Movie-wise, ShangChi had an amazing trailer.
Oh, the new ShangChi trailer. In case you didn't catch everything that was in that trailer, let's start from the beginning on that stuff real quick. The Mandarin's, the rings that he has, the 10 rings, they are actually, Chinese martial art weapons in this one? Bracelets. That's fine. That's a liberty. We're pretty sure he's dealing with the hand. I mean, ShangChi. And that the head of the hand is the Mandarin, who is his father. This is all weird, like how they worked it out. Everything's different. They kind of needed to change the lore of the Mandarin. He's borderline iffy for modern standards. There is what else happened in that trailer? I'm sure everybody saw Abominations in the trailer. Yes, Abominations in the trailer. Yes, he's fighting Wong. We definitely saw that. The thing you might have missed that some of us noticed that we really loved is ShangChi has a vision of a certain dragon. And that dragon is technically tied to Namor, but also tied to the new Agents of Atlas. And yeah, we think that they're hinting towards the Agents of Atlas. Like that's
I mean, it's
coming.
in the movie takes place in San Francisco.
Yeah, the movie's in San Francisco. Didn't
Jimmy Woo was in Ant-Man 2.
Jimmy Woo was in Ant-Man 2. Jimmy Woo mentioned that he had something going on in Oakland.
Yeah.
So in WandaVision. So I think they're building toward that. What is this?
Oh, this is also the new product. This was
New product? This
Yeah.
is for displaying your CGC. There you go, displaying your CGC on the walls. We've got some of these if you want them. Yeah, so that was cool. What else happened in the trailer? Do you remember anything else?
I think the best part was the Abomination fight and the dragon.
The dragon, yeah. We saw that.
The legendary protector.
Yeah.
AKA the Atlantean dragon.
People keep asking if Fin Fang Foom is in it, and no, that's not Fin Fang Foom. That's the Atlantean dragon.
Fin Foom is green, people.
Yeah.
Very long neck and tops.
The other thing about that trailer is, again, we see the Munibus transit in that trailer, the big fight, and we still stand by that. That's an average Munibus commute any day of the week. That's normal in San Francisco. What else? Any other pop culture news? Load Icon happened.
Filming.
Yeah, a boatload of movies started
John
filming.
Wick 4 started filming.
Hell yeah.
They secretly filmed Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 in San Francisco last
You know, I've
week.
only ever seen John Wick 1.
Oh man, you're missing out.
That's what I hear. I don't know why I put it off either. Like, I love Keanu Reeves.
Aquaman 2 started filming.
Oh, did it?
Yes.
Is Amber Heard in it?
Yes, she is.
Oh wow,
That's a shame.
I thought she got
It's
it
Warner
off.
Brothers.
Yeah.
I don't know how else. It's Warner Brothers.
I mean, she got Johnny Depp kicked off from Disney.
Speaking of which, did you try that new Sea of Thieves?
I have. Is that out yet?
I
don't
thought
think it's
so,
out. Is
yeah.
it out?
It
It
is.
dropped? Oh, I might have to go try that Sea of Thieves.
It's on Xbox only, so it's like
That might be something to stream.
I was about to say.
It might be. I haven't streamed in a minute though. I've just been busy. Okay, let's get to the reviews for this week. Let's see. We had like lots of discussions in the store today about lore and stuff like that, but we'll get into that later. We're gonna start off. DC this week, sadly, is a really light week, and we weren't sure if it was like that light overall. Was it just us? Like we had to get out and look. No, there's not a lot of DC titles this week. We're not sure why. One of the things that came out that is amazing, this copy unfortunately is damaged, is the 100-page Spectacular Green Arrow 80th anniversary. Yes, Oliver Queen and Black Canary are both getting a little bit of an anniversary for 80 years. It's nice. I liked it. I liked most of the stories. But I will tell you that of all the stories, they're all good stories. And, you know, it's pretty much the cast that centers around Oliver Queen. But the final story, which is a tribute to Dennis O'Neil, it is a story that doesn't actually have words per se, but is the most beautiful thing I've ever read in comics. And I don't say that very lightly. I mean, I don't say that lightly very often. It was a beautiful send-off, a heartwarming tribute to the death of Dennis O'Neil, and just something that you really can't miss. So that alone is worth the price. There's also, you do get a trade paperback's worth of book here. I mean, it's a giant copy. It's $10, but totally worth it. 100% across the board. Good art. You have multiple covers. If you decide you want an Eras cover, we've got it. Yeah, come pick it up. Outstanding. I'm gonna say that's my pick of the week for DC. I know I started with it. There is a close second for my pick of the week for DC in the form of Infinite Frontier Secret Files. Williamson, Thomas, Phillips, Waters, Delandro, Miranda, Byrne. I think it's Byrne. I can't pronounce it. Hester and Mitten. This is Infinite Frontier Secret Files. This is the Infinite Frontier timeline doing their little Secret Files thing. I will tell you that I liked most of these stories. I thought they were all okay. Pretty good across the board. There's a Roy Harper story. Oh God, we need to talk about Roy Harper. We can finally talk about it. Can we finally talk about it?
Arsenal?
The end of the last Infinite Frontier issue. Has it been 2 weeks?
it came out last week. I think it's more.
I guess is it more than enough time? Should I wait? Roy Harper is a Black Lantern. So he's not alive as far as we know, and two, he's wielding the power of death. And it's awesome. We've never had a human, well, other than Death Hand, but we've never had we haven't had a hero Black Lantern, is what I mean to say, because they're all sinister, and especially at the hand of Black Hand. So we have no idea what implication that will mean. In the meantime, Infinite Frontier, you do get a Roy Harper story. Was not the best showing of this book, actually. And I'm saying that as a Roy Harper fan. My favorite part of this issue centers around Alan Scott's kid, which I'm definitely a bigger Alan Scott fan than I am Roy Harper. Both of them.
Oh, okay.
So both of them, primarily Jade, but she's definitely talking to her brother. If you don't know, her brother's had some issues with some mental health stuff and being a villain at times. But I got to tell you, the end of that story in particular just ends with like the best lines I've read in a long time in a comic book. Like that story was written so well. So the Jade story, definitely go read that. There is also a pretty amazing story centering around Psycho Pirate at the end of this. Now, we do know that Psycho Pirate has popped up on the Omega world. That's the opposite of the Alpha world for the new timeline. There was no explanation as to what it was or who was on it, but it's called the Omega world and it's shrouded in death. We could all probably guess who it is. We do get that confirmation in this issue. It does center around Psycho Pirate, and it has a really good monologue by him and then dialogue at the end of it, too. I was really blown away by that story, too. So 2 extremely good stories. The other stories are still pretty good. There's President Superman one, a couple other things. But those 2 in particular are just outstanding showing, guys. Now, are they as good as the last story from Green Arrow? No, they're not. They're really, really close, though. Close second. It was neck and neck for pick of the week for DC, and those were the 2. Next is V, Potts, Blanco, Ferreira, and Baron. We're going to get some backstory on Catwoman. Now, Catwoman has a new villain. Wears a big flat hat, like one of those Clint Eastwood style hats, I guess you could say. Is wearing glasses, is really creepy, and a bit violent, and quotes scripture. Now, who does that make you think of? Quotes scripture. Not, yeah, a certain knight. A certain one whose name might be part of a state, it seems like. As that. Yes, it centers around the Knights of St. Damas, which, if you don't know, that's Azrael ties, Asbats. But more importantly, we're going to get some backstory on Azrael that I did not know all that well, or forgot, or it hasn't existed to this point. It could be any of the sorts. I mean, I have brain damage, so I do forget some things here and there. I will tell you, that story, super intriguing. The fact that the villain is tied to the Order of St. Damas, not really surprising. Whenever somebody pops up and anyone tied to Batman mythos, it is quoting scripture, I immediately assume that they're tied to Azrael in some way or some form. But was not disappointed. It's a really, really cool villain. Had a good time with it. The art is outstanding. I mean, really good art, guys. The storyline was intriguing. I got way more backstory on one of the Bat Family characters that I don't get enough of these days. Probably because I got overloaded with him in the 90s. Now they just don't do it as much. Next is Cohen, Brizuela, and Riesco, and this is the Batman and Scooby-Doo, a mysteries extravaganza. What do you get in this? You get several Scooby-Doo stories with Batman and Robin in tow, or maybe leading the way with Scooby Gang in tow. And you also get, oddly enough, a Batman that looks very 1930s, and I mean like everything about him looks 1930s, from like the actual outfit, the ears, the symbol. It was really kind of cool to see. And it sort of does fit a Scooby Gang thing. There is a couple of funny exchanges where Batman sort of beats them at their own game, and then, you know, they solve mysteries together. Oh, I had a good time with it. But is it for everyone? Nah, not really. It's probably tailored more to kids and the nostalgia factor, guys like me who grew up on Scooby-Doo. But it's a pretty good read. Next is a book I honestly loved and was completely surprised about. This is Midnight Western Theater, Southard, Han, Cody, and Baudouin. I did not know what to take away from this when I crossed my my desk, I guess you could say. It is vampires crossed with cowboys. Now, we've seen this sort of trope done here and there, time and time again. But this one in particular, the vampires didn't seem as gothic and dreary as I expected. They had a lot of fun and heart, good dialogue. Two, the story was a bit heartbreaking and very Western. It didn't end like a happy story. It definitely ended in, Western sort of tragedy, and I liked it. I had a good time with it. It's actually kind of fun, and it took me by surprise. But go figure, Scout Comics is really doing some nice things these days, and this is a good showing. So I had a great time with this, and I will actually be reading more of this, and I think you should check it out. Now, if you didn't read the first issue, I don't think it matters. I didn't read the first issue, I don't think, and I still knew what was going on. So I would say this is a must-pick-up indie title this week. Not my indie pick of the week, not by a long shot, but getting there. Next is Baron Fantini and Rodriguez, and this is Steak. Now, I've talked about Steak before. I said, it's vampires. Vampires are in the world. Humans know that vampires exist. They don't like the vampires. They don't get along. We've seen this before. This is the True Blood factor. But it centers around a hunter, a vampire hunter, who is friends with a vampire, and she pretty much tries to get vampires to register. If they don't register, she decides she's going to murk them. She's going to kill them. So they need to just register, put their name in a ledger and join the vampire world's, registry, and then they get that. Really, the best part about this story is the art and the dialogue. The art is mind-blowing, and I mean really good art. They use color where you need color. They pull it away when you don't need it. I don't know what the art style is, but I dig it. I really dig it a lot. It's like minimalist with color. I don't know. I loved it. The actual story, the dialogue's really good. The exchanges between the two main characters are fun. They're witty characters. I don't hate these characters. At times, the main character does start to grate on your nerves a little bit. She's a little too moody at times, but that's the only complaint. And really, that's just me being nitpicky. The rest of the story is great. So Steak, honestly, I said give it an issue or something, and I'm on board. I would say at this point, if you read the other issues and you liked them, this one will be the turning point. This will probably be where you sub. So, yeah. Next is book I loved. It was almost my DC pick of the week, too. Sheridan, Chang, LaFuente, Sandoval, Tarragona, Sinclair, Malo, and Muerto. This is, you guys ready for it? Teen Titans Academy. But this actually centers around, the beginning of it centers around a lesser-known character named Stitch. Stitch is the Patchwork Kid. I don't know how to define Stitch. Stitch is a, non-binary, gender-neutral character that is made out of magic and stitch work. And his dad, or their dad, is Dr. Fate. Wow. Yeah. So the older version of Dr. Fate. And I honestly, like that storyline centering around that character and that character just trying to find their place in the world, I had such a good time with it. It was honestly my favorite story of all of them. Now, that doesn't mean that's the only good story. There are other characters in this that I really liked. However, I will say one of the stories was a bit confusing as to how and why things were happening to these kids. It didn't, I don't know, it didn't seem fleshed out. I feel like I missed a page. Like quite literally felt like I missed a page and wasn't caught up on it. I tried to understand it. I don't know what was going on there. I need somebody else to confirm that. You do also get a Red X story, so everybody wants those stories. So yeah, you get that too. But Teen Titans Academy yearbook is a really good read, and if you're subbed to Teen Titans, you'll be getting this. Anyone else, you should definitely jump in on this issue. It was outstanding. And again, that Stitch story was really heartwarming. There's just an exchange with Dr. Fate and Stitch at the end that just really drives it home. And anything that humanizes Dr. Fate, because he's kind of a moody bee. That's all I'm going to say. Next is a book I love, and I'm going to give this my indie pick of the week. Surprise, guys. You're not going to believe what my indie pick of the week is. Cam, can you guess?
Blade Runner, Johnston.
Indie pick of the week.
Department Truth.
Crossover.
Tinian the Fourth, Simmons, and Bidikar. It's Department of Truth. Yes, it's always my indie pick of the week. Why? Well, the art is next level. The art is just something mind-blowing and perfect for a conspiracy story. Every one of these stories centers around a well-known either conspiracy, but also centers around fleshing out more of the department, which in and of itself is a true conspiracy. If you like SCP stuff, you like that sort of narrative, you play games like Control, like I do, you like X-Files, you will love Department of Truth. The big mystery is not necessarily the things they're trying to debunk and fight from entering the world. It's also the department itself and how they do it. And they revealed in the last issue how they counter like giant world conspiracies. And it was the most effed up reveal I've ever read, and I loved it. It was wicked and mean and gnarly and sharp, and it was just everything I wanted in a comic like this. I love everything about Department of Truth. This issue in particular centers around Bigfoot, and we get classifications of different types of creatures. The department defines them into 3 different categories. Are you guys ready for this?
All right.
Number 1, ghosts and apparitions. They are the least damaging because usually they're just hidden voices or moving stuff and stuff like that. Number 2, angels. No, close encounters. So UFOs and other stuff. They categorize angels into UFOs or with UFOs. So that's the second worst encounters. The third and the worst are Bigfoot, monsters, and other things that just don't belong in the world. Woo! I love it. I love everything about Department of Truth. Yeah, did I give you a little bit of spoiler? Yeah, I kind of did. I love this mythos. I'm sorry. But I didn't spoil the whole comic. Trust me, it's so ridiculously good. If you have been waiting to dive in on Department of Truth, I'm going to need to take your comic fan card back from you because it's questionable right now. But trust me, you'll love it. Just go out and get it. Just 100%. Go out and get this book. If you're not on board with this book yet, sub to it. Just dive in. Take the chance. The art alone is worth the price of admission, but the storyline is mind-blowing. And it's no wonder. They've already optioned it, I think, for a movie or TV show. Which is it? It better be a TV show. Does anybody know? It needs to be a TV show. If it was a movie, they'd have to do it in like 4 parts. 3 parts, something like that. Frank Goggle, Simone Ragazzoni, and Igor Monti, and this is Power Rangers Unlimited. This book, yes, it's real, and it centers around a certain ranger. What ranger is that, Cam or Nate?
Ranger.
Who is it? The Phantom Ranger. Where did the Phantom Ranger come from?
Power Rangers Zeo.
Power Rangers
This will be
Zeo.
the 2nd season of Power.
Okay. I'm going to say that the Phantom Ranger looks like Stormtrooper Ranger. That's what I'm going to say. And his backstories, I don't know if it's a he or she, but their backstory is really cool. And they're really sort of brutal in how they fight and make sacrifices. I kind of love this Ranger. And I'm saying that as somebody who's not the biggest Power Ranger fan. I was fully on board with this. This story itself, it reads like, what is it? Ranger and Lost Cub, I guess you could say. That's sort of what it is. The Phantom Ranger is rescuing a kid that's being hunted. It's the Mandalorian, let's be honest. I mean, you can look at that cover and sort of see it even. Did I like it? Yeah, I loved it. It's tropey. It's something we've seen before, but I had a really good time with this. And again, saying that as somebody who's not a diehard Power Ranger fan, if I can read this, understand it, and enjoy it, I think you will too. We'll have it on our shelves. It's outstanding. Next is The Marvels. This is Kurt Busiek, Yildiray Sinar, and Richard Isanov. Now, I got to tell you, the art is just absurdly cool on The Marvels. Now, The Marvels itself, this issue, it centers around the first family, but the first family without their powers. Even Johnny Storm is like really young, but still doing pranks because it's Johnny Storm. Ben Grimm and Reed Richards are actually fighting in a jungle well before they have their powers. And it does center around something that's kind of mysterious that I never put together. Let me ask you guys this. Have you noticed that there is an abnormal amount of monsters in the Marvel universe that center around the tropical zones of Earth? It makes sense, right? The equator, the savage lands, like all that stuff does have a lot of it. And of course, what's the main monster there? Fin Fang Foom, of course. But They call it the Monster Zone, and I've never heard this before, but I'm intrigued by this. It's kind of a weird lesson. It's a little bit of lore. So that was pretty cool. It's nice to see them solving their problems without superpowers, the First Family, but I just love seeing the First Family do pretty much anything. Now, is this comic for everyone? No, I think if you didn't grow up with comics, this is probably not the comic to jump in on. I think this is more for like a lot of us guys who like lived this our whole lives. It definitely is a throwback to some older books at times, but it's fun. I had a good time with it. The art is outstanding. Is that cover Alex Ross? I think it is, but I'm not sure. He doesn't put his name on it anymore. I can usually just look at a cover and be like, oh, that's Alex Ross for sure. Outstanding. Just amazing work of art there. Next is Wong Jung, Alazaba, and Rosenberg, and this is Dr. Aphra. But it says it's a War of the Bounty Hunters tie-in. I'm going to preface that by saying it doesn't feel like it. There is a bounty hunter introduced, which may pop up again in the War of the Bounty Hunters. That's the only tie-in I think there is. Well, they do reference the Crimson Dawn, which we know are in play, and they are building towards something. But this book itself, it was weird. It felt like filler, which is strange coming from Dr. Aphra. It felt like it had gotten its crap together the last few issues. It was kind of amazing. So why throw a filler in here? I'm not sure what it is. It's okay. We have a very alien creature that behaves like aliens in there that they've got to deal with. Okay. Sure, I guess. Oh, wow. And the bounty hunter sort of looks like, well, he looks like two things. One, he kind of looks like Predator, and two, he kind of looks like General Grievous. That's General Grievous crossed with the Predator. Am I wrong?
He's from the first Clone Wars.
From the first Clone Wars?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there was like a one season, not even a full season that he did.
Oh, the Gennady Tarkelson Clone Wars. I see that character now. I can recognize. Okay. Okay. So, I mean, it was interesting. It was a character, a lesser-known character that they're sort of fleshing out a little bit. But I would say that as a Star Wars fan and a Dr. Aphra fan, a little disappointed with this book. It's okay. I think if you're into Dr. Aphra right now, you're probably not going to be bored with it, but it's not their best showing. Next is a book that was super weird, and I actually had a good time with. This is The Scourge of Mechanical Man, a Granville Woods and Nikola Tesla story. This centers around, well, people have a serum, and that serum creates automaton men. If you inject it into a regular man, they start growing gold clockwork parts, and then they turn into it's like a voodoo zombie that just does people's biddings and stuff like that. And they're trying to spread it. Meanwhile, Nikola Tesla and Granville Woods are tasked with countering that. And oddly enough, had a really good time. Felt like I'd read a trade by the time I got to the end of it. It was fun. There were a couple of twists. I got to tell you that this is a better Metal Men than the Metal Men that was on our shelves last year. That I didn't really like that series very much. I had a really good time with this issue. But the main characters are kind of fun. And I don't know enough about the Boston Metaphysical Society. I think I've read 2 issues of it before. This itself is a one-shot. It's pretty self-contained. I don't think you'll be bored with it. But you really got to like sort of that steampunk feel to enjoy that. If you don't like steampunk, you're probably not going to dig it. That's all I'm going to say on it. Next is Brian Herbert, Kevin J. Anderson, Dev Promanik, Alex Guimaras. This is Dune, but more importantly, I mean, yes, you do get some more of Duke Leto's backstory. And so it's a little bit more Dune lore. And you do actually get a Shai Hulud appearance, which if you don't know what Shai Hulud is, then it's pretty much, it's like the god of the Fremen of Dune. And it comes in the form of a giant sandworm in sandworm writing. And they just reference it as saying it's like the biggest. And it's not exactly a nice god. It's a vengeful god at times. But so we do get a Shai Hulud mention, and that's kind of cool. More importantly, we get Duncan Idaho being a badass even when he's a kid. Now, Duncan Idaho is probably the only character in all of the Dune novels that is in every single one of them. And he's an absolute badass, although he does sort of get brainwashed. I don't know if it's brainwashed, but brought back to life as a mentat that is sort of creepy and weird at times. But anyways, he's in all of the Dune novels, and he's an absolute beast, and he's being played by who?
Is it Jason Momoa?
It's Jason Momoa. He's being played by Aquaman, which if I said either you place Jason Momoa as Fedaykin, the most badass of Fremen, or you place him as Duncan Idaho. Those two, nobody else, in my opinion, is worthy of being him in this story. So you get more of that, and it's nice to know that even as a kid, he's a badass. I'm loving that stuff, but I'm a Dune fanboy, so you're going to see me gush about this weird stuff. And hopefully, after the movie comes out, there's going to be a lot more of us out there, so I'll be able to gush with fellow Dune fanboys and Fremen and stuff. It's awesome. You should be jumping in on that. But again, Dune is confusing, so you kind of do need to know some of the source material to get really into that stuff. Next is Jean Luen Yang, Dyke Ron, Triona Farrell. I hope I pronounced your names right. We're talking about ShangChi versus Captain Marvel. This is really ShangChi issue number 2. Is this a variant or is this a main cover? What a good-looking main cover. Yes, we do get Shang-Chi versus Captain Marvel. Is that center stage in this issue? Actually, no. There is an auction sponsored. Well, a bunch of villains are there. What villains do you think are in attendance? Well, if there's an auction, probably Hydra. I think Madam Hydra. You think that? I didn't see Taskmaster in that thing. He's sort of gone good. He's trying to be better.
I picture AIM.
AIM, somebody from AIM is there for sure. A certain chair floating guy.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, MODOK is there. There's a few others. So honestly, the auction was hysterical. I had a really good time with it. More importantly, the item they're auctioning is, well, it's something that you shouldn't let anywhere near Captain America, in my opinion, because it caused the whole Captain Hydra thing. So, yeah, if you know that, you know what I'm talking about. Was it cool? Yeah, it's really cool. I had a good time with it. A really good Captain America. Well, I said Captain America. It felt like a Captain America issue. It was a Shang-Chi issue. There's a bit back and forth between them. I had a good time with it. I really like this writer, and the artists are really amazing too. Really, really fun. It's just I kept, as I read it, I was screaming internally like, Cap, don't go near that thing. Like, just keep it away. We don't need that happening again. But yeah, I loved it. I loved every second of it. Shang-Chi issue number 2. Honestly, everything about all these other than the fact that they don't let him keep a run going, they keep resetting it or just doing a mini series. We've had 3 or 4 Shang-Chi miniseries this past year. This one's great. The last ones were great. Let's let some numbers keep rising for once. Like, let him have an ongoing, please. Next, Thompson, Casagrande, Delator, and Belair. And we're talking about Black Widow issue number 8. God, isn't this a good series? Yes. Ridiculously good. The art is amazing. The story is amazing. My heart is broken every time she sits and thinks about her kid. It just, oh God, it kills me every single time. That happens. More importantly, we get Jessica, Spider-Woman, doing some espionage work, which is kind of cool. And we do get some spycraft stuff in this particular issue. And what happens in it might be, well, a grand tragedy in the Marvel universe. We'll just have to wait and see. Loved it. Had a great time. I felt like I was riding a carnival ride and just gripping the rails the whole time. Everything about this Black Widow run is just absurdly cool. And if the movie is anything like this run, I think it will knock it out of the park. I've had the best time with it. But the art, oh man, that art is like a masterclass in comic art. Oh, it's so good. I will tell you what is amazing, but what book actually sucked. Brian Edward Hill, Geraldo Borges, Michael Adia. Granted, I'm really biased in this when it comes to video game branding titles. Far Cry Rite of Passage. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to be more brutal on this. The art, the cover art is amazing. I really like this cover art. The story, it's okay. There's, again, not enough action. There's a lot of dialogue. And I'm not invested in Far Cry characters. So I'm going to be a little bit more brutal on that. I'm sorry. That's the way it's going to be. Now, does it have Gus Fring in it? Yes, Moff Gus is in this story. Is it Moff Gideon? Moff Gideon. I'm going to call him Moff Gus every time, I think. Moff Gus Fring is in this story. And anything with him in it, in my opinion, is inherently cool. But I don't know the Far Cry universe. I've not really played the brand very much. And frankly, I don't know comic books don't tend to pull me in very often. I usually dread reading them. This was no different. I didn't really know what was going on. I'm saying that as somebody who has read the other issue, so that's weird. But I wasn't, I don't know, it didn't disappoint me is what I'm going to say. So it was okay. I think if you're a Far Cry fan, you'll probably love it. If you're anyone else, this is not your book. Next is Mech, Magno, and Guri effects. We're not going to waste much time on this because I've been over this, and it's just, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. Avengers Mech Strike. Cam, what is this book? It's an excuse to put the Avengers in mechs. That's it. In this issue, we're going to get a Thanos mech. That's it. I've actually had a good time with this story. What do you think, Cam?
I haven't read it.
You haven't read it? I think Black Panther dies in like the first issue, doesn't he? Yeah, he like dies in like the first issue.
Wow.
But I really love this, oddly enough, and I've been having a good time. But it's just an excuse to put the Avengers in a mech suit. Now, I will say there was a really messed up exchange between Black Widow and Spider-Man, where she pulls knives out on him and she's talking in metaphors and is pretty twisted and weird, but it was kind of cool to read. The art that's what I'm on the fence about. I don't know what it is about this art, but like there are some pages that I really, really love, and there are some pages that I'm just like, oh, I'm just not feeling it. And I don't know why that is. The story, too, is, I mean, it's just an excuse to put the Avengers in mech suits. Do the Avengers really need to roll around in mechs? Not really. No, there doesn't need to be a Hulk mech. Hulk is a mech of himself. Like, if Robotech landed in the Marvel universe, I would bet that Hulk would be still the number one mech roaming around that universe.
Oh, yeah, but giant robots are cool.
Giant robots are cool. I will give you that. Nonetheless, I had a good time with it. This one does center around Thanos versus Kang the Conqueror, which is a fight we all kind of want in comics anyways. I had a good time with it. You probably will too. It's just, I don't know that I need to sell that book. If I say, do you like the Avengers and do you like mechs? Usually, if you answer both of those correct, that's that book for you. That's the one you buy. Next is Jeremy Holt, George Shaw, and Adam Wallet, and this is made in Korea. Now, this is, I told you guys last time, like this, it felt like an 80s sitcom called Small Wonders, which centered around a family that had a young girl that was a robot. Like, that was the whole shtick for the show, was that the girl was a robot. This is the same thing. This girl was actually made in a Korean factory, and she's a robot, but she's been programmed with a really powerful AI and was sent to a family in America, and it goes from there. This is sort of her trying to fit into the world and trying to find her place, and then falling in with the wrong crowd. And by wrong crowd, I mean, like, this story felt whimsical and fun for most of the last issue, felt whimsical and fun for most of this issue. And then that last page was, oh my God, did it get dark? Oh my God, was it dark? I mean, like Immortal Hulk dark, like, oh crap. Like, what is going on here? I was a bit shocked by that last page. And I think if you've been reading the first issue, you will be shocked too. Now, it's not to say I hated it. I've been having a good time with this book. It felt like at first it was like, oh, you know, synthetic slice of life kind of book, like a family sort of finding their daughter, and even though their daughter is technically a robot type, like, it was kind of, I was having a good time with it. No, everything changes on that last page, and it was shocking as heck. So check it out. It's a pretty good read. I had a good time with it. I think you will too. The art is pretty good. It's pretty good art. At times, I will say that the art feels a bit, I don't know, at times it feels proper, and at other times it feels a bit like cartoony, and I'm not sure. It fit the theme until I got to the last page of the second book, and then it didn't quite fit the theme. Next is Scott Ginty, Story, and Leone. This is Star Wars The High Republic, and issue number 6. Now, it seems like a long time that we've been dealing with this sort of, I don't know, it's a grave mine from Halo type plant, like a plant that infects things and has tendrils everywhere, and has even taken over most of a planet. Yeah, it's been a long time. But the exchange we get in this one particular issue, it centers around, Jedis riding Rancors teamed up with fighting Hutts. That's weird, and I think that alone is definitely worth picking up this book. So the fight's good, the storyline's good. It seems like it's been a long time that we've been dealing with this same thing, and I kind of want to see it resolved, but thankfully it looks like it's building towards that. We have this really cool cast of Jedis that feels like they could do a bunch of political things and a bunch of war-making things, and they've just been stuck on the same task. I want a bit more, I don't know, of the deep web of Star Wars. I want more space opera in this space opera. That's what I'm going to say. Is it good, though? It's great. I don't know anyone that's disappointed with High Republic. It's just, it's starting to feel like I need a little bit more from it. Next is Von Command, Von Eckertsburg, and we're talking about GungHo. This is a weird book in that I really, really like the art for GungHo. I just don't really like the story. The story centers around, well, it's an apocalypse, and there's a bunch of kids that are divided up, and well, it feels like, I don't know that they're divided up. I think they're all working together, but they're fighting sort of the apocalypse, which is coming in the form of these big monsters, and they're trying to like manage stuff. It's okay. It's a typical apocalypse trope story. The art is really what sells it for me. I had a good time with the art. The story, it's okay. It's okay at best, and that's probably putting it nicely. I as somebody who likes apocalyptic fiction, was not blown away by this. So I don't know, if you need a little bit more apocalyptic fiction, this is it. If you're anyone else, definitely don't start with this book, and this is probably not your jam. I'm sure you have better stuff. Guys, give me a second. I gotta get a drink. Next is Parasamania. This is Bun Muddy and Bowling. Look, I'm going to tell you flat out, it felt like a weird sort of swashbuckler horror book at times. Like, that's what it feels. It's like swashbuckler horror and fantasy. What it really is it's Cullen Bunn saying, look, I can dunk on you with paranormal mystery type stuff. And part of this centers around a kid in a coma. None of it's fully explained, but it's Cullen Bunn doing what he does best. And if you're a Bunn fan, you'll probably want this book. The art is, well, it's really good actually. I think it's watercolors. I'm not entirely sure, but the art is just, it's really cool. I had a good time with it, but I'm really partial to that style of art. And I really do like Cullen Bunn. I pretty much they let him take his gloves off and just be like, look, paranormal and mystery. Put those things together. That's every Cullen Bunn book, and they're never boring. They're always really, really fun. This is pretty much him doing the same thing. Next is a book that if you are a horror fan, you will love. Oh my God, I didn't notice this. There is an Outlaw Comics approved by cartoonist Kayfabe, I guess, stamp on the cover that looks like the Comics Code of Authority. That's pretty funny. This is Red Room. This one centers around, well, social networks. This is a horror comic that is so far over the top. If you like gore in your horror and lots of it, this is your jam. Now, the art style is really wicked and feels right for a horror comic. On top of that, the storyline is, man, it is dark. And this one in particular centers around, snuff videos involving an online presence on social media. It's kind of weird. I had an okay time with it. It wasn't the best storyline, but the art's really, really cool. And the first issue was just, every issue was really, really shocking, but the first issue in particular was just, I was like blindsided by how wild it got. This one's pretty good. It'll be on our shelf. Next is Usagi Ojimbo Dragon Bellow Conspiracy issue number 1. Now, I'm going to tell you that this cover is wild. I've never seen Usagi drawn quite in that style, and I don't know who did the cover art, but I don't think it's Sakai by any means. Let me see if I can find it on the first page. Cover by David Peterson. Good showing, guy. So that was pretty cool. On top of that, the storyline is awesome, and I mean awesome. As a Usagi fan, like this one kind of like took me by surprise. One, it centers around Toma and me, which whenever she's in there, it's part of the other clan. I'm trying to remember what the clan is. But it centers around the kid that runs the clan. That whenever they encounter Usagi, it's always a really, really good story. On top of that, there is the blind swords pig who has a wooden nose, who is a badass swords pig. He's pissed off Gen the bounty hunter, so Gen the bounty hunter is moving in on him. Meanwhile, Usagi sees Tomome. Amy has been captured, and he's got to rescue her. There's so many moving parts, but it's like pretty much the all-star cast of Usagi Yojimbo coming together. So I was blown away by this issue, and I think if you're a Usagi fan, you will love this. This will absolutely be your jam. You will like it was nonstop action. Really, really good showing from Stan Sakai. Come pick this up. It's outstanding. Next is a book that it was strange. Mirko and Dalfa, Sia and Eleonora Bruni. The weird thing about this book is it's Mirko and Dalfa doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is it's odd. But the art is great because it's Mirko and Dalfa tied to this. The story's great. All of it's great. But it's weird. So it basically centers around what if the Watcher became a vampire? Would Buffy still do her job? And how would that play out? And it's pretty much the 90s cast of Buffy telling their tales about what would happen if Giles ever became the Watcher. And I know it's the 90s cast because they reference the Bronze, which the current modern age comics do not. So it was kind of cool. I had a really, really good time with it. And this is, the cast that I grew up with. I loved it. More importantly, it's a very Giles book, which I kind of love the Giles and Buffy dynamic. It's always fun to me. Good showing. I think it's a one-shot. This is a one-shot, right?
Yeah.
One-shot. Okay. Didn't buy anything, huh? Just gonna talk loud during my filming, but not buy anything. I hate people like that. Anyways, Burnham and Bertram, we're talking about Transformers Beast Wars, issue number 5. This is $3.99, by the way. Transformers Beast Wars is, I don't know. I don't love it. This issue, I'm going to tell you flat out. There's 5 pages of dialogue taking place in a prison. Yeah, 5 pages of dialogue taking place in a prison in a Transformers comic that, is pretty well known for action. Cam, what do you think of Beast Wars, this comic anyways? Doesn't do the cartoon justice. I sort of like the first issues. I'm not feeling this. I did come to the terms with the fact that Megatron is a Tyrannosaurus. That's dope. But the rest of it, it's not. I'm not really having the best time. That's what I'm going to say. Oh, wait until later. It gets worse. Does he become Galvatron?
I don't know, but he transforms into something as deadly as a Tyrannosaurus.
Oh, okay.
With a little longer neck, wings, and fire.
A dragon. Oh, okay. Anyways, so I don't know. I'm not a Transformers Beast Wars fan. I'm a Transformers original series fan. Transformers Prime fan. But it's okay. I think if you're a Beast Wars fan, you'll probably have a good time with it. I'm not having the best time. That's all I'm gonna say. Next to Seeley, Howard and Howard, Molnaire, Gooden, Duke, and World. My God, the amazing Vampire the Masquerade issue number 9. Now we found out a lot of truths in the last issue. One, the gal who basically adopted the Primogen that was the new fledgling vampire that didn't have a sire or didn't know who her sire was. She adopted her and she took her along and pretty much trained her. Her name's Cecily Bain. She adopted this other gal named Allie. Allie turned out to be a traitor working with the Second Inquisition. More importantly, a group called the Mortician's Army, which have this sort of badass weapon, some kind of Mortician's cross or something. So we saw that. She got betrayed. Meanwhile, Cecily Bain and pretty much all of the Minnesota vampires are trying to not be murdered in the Second Inquisition. Meanwhile, the Anarch story did cross over finally with the actual Camarilla story, and it was really, really cool to see. Having just the best time with this Vampire the Masquerade run. But I gotta tell you, like, Winter's Teeth is just outstanding if you're a Vampire the Masquerade fan, which I've been for like 30 years. So if you like this storyline, you like these characters, these vampire clans, you will have the best time with Vampire the Masquerade. Winter's Teeth. It's awesome. I gotta get my drink. And the art's good too. I almost drank Yogi's.
Took a chance and then put the butthole on today.
Yeah, Yogi draws a butthole on his drink so that I don't drink it because I like look at it and go, ew.
It works.
This is my work environment. Next is Cantwell, Trujillo, Eaglesham, Basil Dua, and Mia. And we're talking about the United States of Captain America. Now, look, okay, I'm going to be a little brutal on this book. This book, it was a bit controversial. It centers around, well, there's Cap and supposedly U.S. agents tied to it, and also, Falcon's going to be running on. So there's several Captain Americas in it. More importantly, there's another Captain America that they introduce, who is a character who is gay and rides the. I think this Cap rides the rails and protects like homeless people on the rails. I think that's his story, which would make sense at a time where more people ride the rails. But I don't. Are there a lot of people like doing that these days? I don't think so.
This is in the 1930s.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, okay. This book is controversial because when they introduced it, like people were like freaking out, saying, "Oh, it's a gay Captain America." Well, this character he just took Cap as inspiration and sort of like made his own, like he's cosplaying Cap and he looks up to Cap. And honestly, I like the character quite a bit. And his storyline in the second half of this story was really awesome. Like I like that story quite a bit. But I got to tell you guys, I don't know what it is, but the art in it really at times felt like it was referencing the Liefeld Cap in like brutal ways. Yogi, come look at this. Come look at this. Let me get your opinion. Does that not look like the Liefeld cover with like big chest? The sideways chest. And then at the end of the mainline one, they have the same issues where they just look like they have giant chests. I don't like the art. That's all I'm going to say. I know there's a lot of people that worked on this book, but I do not like the art in the internal part of the book, at least for the first story. The second story, outstanding. I don't know what's going on. It just felt like giant chest Liefeld. Like I was like, whoa. Kylo Ren with his shirt off is jealous at what's going on here. I don't know. It didn't bond with the art. Was the story good? Yeah, it was pretty good. I had a good time. Yeah, it's a new character. I think you honestly, if you give it a chance, you'll like the character. I don't think he's a knockoff Cap. I just think he looks up to Cap, and why not? We live in a world where people look up to Cap and cosplay him all the time. Why wouldn't somebody do that in Marvel 616? Like, just give it a chance. It's a pretty good time. Next is a book I loved. I friggin' loved. I was blown away, like, completely. Department of Truth is my indie pick of the week. No, you know what? I'm going to say it. Department of Truth was good, but this was great. I'm going to make this my indie pick of the week. I'm going to dethrone it. I'm going to dethrone it. Okay, look, it's a vault book, too. Maurice, Gooden, Duke, and Campbell. This is Vault Barbaric. Now, hear me out, okay? Is this character inspired by Conan? Well, it's a barbarian running around with oversized weapons, cursing, screwing, fighting, and murdering things. Yeah, it's inspired by Conan. Of course it is. But is it good? The dialogue was outstanding. It was very modern Conan, like he curses, tells people to F off and stuff like that. But here's the twist, okay? The twist is he has a magical axe that talks to him, and he's cursed. He can only murder bad people with that axe. Like, he doesn't murder good people. So it's a twist on the Conan trope. But the character is very much, it feels like Conan, and it's fun. Like, I had a really, really good time with it. But that's not even the best part. Like, the story's great. The dialogue's great. It's really fun. It's kind of a new character. The way the axe is drawn is really wicked. It's got this cool face on the cover that I don't even know if you can tell how awesome that thing looks. But aside from that, the art is outstanding. Like, just stellar art. Really, really gorgeous. There's like this 2-page spread of just hell, like this vision of hell in it. It's just mind-blowing. Loved everything about this book. I want to know so much more about this character, these characters, because there's multiple ones. There's a witch tied to it too. I had a great time with it. I wanted an axe that looked like that. Loved it. Loved every single second of it. You will too. Barbaric. Look, it's going to be my indie pick of the week, and I'm picking it over Department of Truth. Just absurdly cool book. Come pick it up. Next is Black Cat, Infinite Destinies. I didn't realize that this wasn't like a Black Cat mainline book. Now, hear me out. White Fox is in this, and she needs Black Cat to do a job. So how do you get Black Cat to do a job? Well, you
Kidnap her best friend.
actually you Suicide Squad her, apparently. Yeah. Didn't see it coming at all. But I'm going to tell you that that's pretty cool, and you do sort of get like two characters from the new Agents of Atlas, which was cool to see. Luna Fox, I think. Luna Fox is in it. I can't remember who the other character is, but there's somebody else that's in there. You get all these other characters that I don't know very well, including like a walking totem of some kind. But more importantly, you get a character that I love and hate this name all at once. It's a gambler magician. Hear me out, guys. A gambler magician who has a mystical deck of Hanafuda cards, which are really cool, in my opinion. I love Hanafuda cards. They're amazing. They're gorgeous. On top of that, her name is Auntie Annie.
Yeah.
Like Annie up. Like Auntie Annie. So I hate that name, but I also kind of love it. I don't know. And the character itself was pretty fun. She's kind of a bitch, which I love characters like that. I don't know. So that story was cool. More importantly, you get an Infinite Nick Fury story at the end of this that had me hooked and felt like old school Nick Fury. I'm talking like when I was a kid, like reading the old sort of Nick Fury running around, but with the modern Nick Fury. That's what it felt like, and that's all I really want in Nick Fury's story. So good showing on that. I can't wait for that. The Black Cat story. Tons of action, tons of good art, but it centers around, well, the Korean equivalent of Hyperion has gone rogue and is being controlled by a crime syndicate. I can't think of much worse than that, but they literally say like, oh, yeah, that guy has power levels comparable to Sentry.
Is it that guy from Taskmaster?
Yeah. No, it's not that same Hyperion.
Oh,
I don't think so. Oh, yeah, it wasn't Taskmaster, wasn't it? He was introduced in Taskmaster, so was White Fox. Yeah, it is. It is. So, yeah, she's like, oh, power's comparable to Sentry. Oh, that's great. I'm going to have a good time with this. Sarcasm alert. Is it good? Yeah, the story's great. The dialogue's great. Had a good time. It felt like an excuse to introduce a few new characters. They were fun. The art was good. So don't sleep on this. But anything tied to Black Cat these days, who's writing this? McKay. Anything McKay seems to be touching seems to be amazing. He's writing the current Black Cat run, right? McKay?
Yeah.
What is it he's doing that's coming up? There's something he's writing Moon Knight. That's why I'm excited every time I hear his name. Anyways, if ever there's a dude that needs to write Moon Knight, definitely. Next is a book I hated. You probably know why. Rob Liefeld, David Gallagher, and Jack Morelli. The Shield falls victim to the Liefeld curse. Why does it fall victim to the Liefeld curse? Well, a lot of things. One, every single character drawn in this book looks like they've been doing cocaine. They have three mouth forms. One is this, the other is this, and the other is yelling. And those are the only mouths that Liefeld ever draws, and it shows in this book. More importantly, we have the most knockoff of Avengers I've ever seen, to include a black. It's just.
It's Black Cat.
Not Black Cat. Black Panther.
Not Black Panther.
It's Black Panther, but it's like, it is the most Black Panther ripoff I've ever seen. He's standing right next to the Wolverine Namor that is clearly Wolverine crossed with Namor. I hated it. One, I didn't like the characters. Two, I didn't like the art, but it's Liefeld. I never like it. Three, I really, really did not like the dialogue for a lot of reasons, but a lot of it is just like there's no mysticism in Liefeld books. Usually they spell out everything that's going to happen.
What was it? Father Box? What did he have? Father Bike.
The Father Bike. What was that? Major X character?
Major X, yeah.
Where we're like, oh, the mystery of Major X, who's it gonna be? And he like answers it on like the second page. That's what he does. Like he gets an idea and he's like, I gotta tell people immediately. No, man, like don't tip your hand. Hold on to your secret. Let your secret unfold, man. Like, if Liefeld did that more often, I'd probably like his stuff a lot more. But I'm not even sure he's writing this one. Yeah, he is. I don't like it. Anyways, I'm not a Liefeld fan. I think if you are a Rob Liefeld fan, maybe you might like it, but I just it's not my jam. Next is Spurrier, Davila, Parsons, Prianto, and this is the book that took me by the most surprise this year, and that is Black Knight. I've never liked Black Knight as a hero. I thought he's kind of campy, and he's like an annoying version of Thor. And I think they even referenced that at the beginning of Black Knight, where Thor's like, "Are you making fun of me?" Like he's definitely like he talks with a very old style. They've removed that. They've changed part of his mythos. They've brought out more ebony items and explained more of his lore. And I actually kind of love this character now. And I think he's dying, which is pretty sad. But we're gonna see what results from that. But is it good? Yeah, it's good. The last issue we saw him drink out of the Onyx cup, which it's basically a cup that whenever you drink out of it, it answers all your questions about how things are gonna unfold. But the problem is, it answers all your questions and it really messes you up in the head. So you probably don't want to sip out of that cup. It's the poison chalice, mystery curse type thing. Anyways, I've loved it. More importantly, Elsa Bloodstone is in this, and she's just basically being Elsa Bloodstone, pissed off and chasing a Bloodstone and dealing with monsters. And I love everything about that. But when it's time for her to go, they're just like, nope, she's gone. And the way she leaves is also very Elsa Bloodstone. Anyways, Black Knight, I don't think you should jump in on this issue in particular. I still had a really good time with issue 4. But go back a couple issues. Oddly enough, I don't think I need to sell this to you. Like, just pick it up, thumb through it. Like, you're gonna go, the art looks pretty good, and you're gonna read the story and realize that I don't know, Spurrier is writing a really deep storyline and changing his mythos and making it more of a fun character. So just go give it a chance. It's oddly outstanding. Next is another book I love, but go figure, I love Jerry Dugan. Jerry Dugan and Noto were talking about Cable. Now, look, okay, Cable's got to get the band back together. Strife has been causing mayhem. Strife is about to kill a bunch of kidnapped mutant kids. Cable can't let that stand. So what's he do? Well, he brings old Cable back to life. That's a very mutant thing to do, like a wild solution. And then he decides he's going to get the band back together. Now, what is Cable's band? Yeah, so we get an all-star showing from the old school X-Force stuff, and it's awesome. I had a really good time with it. I love these characters, though, and, you know, it's just a lot of fun. And it's a very Krakoa answer. Like, Cable, it's a very Cable answer and Krakoa answer, where, like, Krakoa's like, no, you shouldn't bring old Cable back to life. He's a problem. Shouldn't. He's a problem, but you're going to do what you want, and you're a mutant, and we're going to step back and let you make these mistakes. So I loved it. Yeah, great time. So Cable, honestly, good showing. The art is amazing. The story is amazing. This whole storyline is outstanding. Like, I haven't been bored once. Cam, have you been reading Cable?
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
I'm surprised. I'm glad he didn't have to call his mom and his dad to help out.
Yeah, he didn't call his mom and his dad to help out, but he did call them to ask permission a couple times. So, it is what it is. He's a good kid. He's just growing up so fast. He's growing up so fast, and pretty soon he's going to be lost in time and return old and bitter. Oh, well. Next is Beta Ray Bill. This is Johnson and Spicer. This is an outstanding comic. Now, I think did Spicer do Little Bird? Is this the same artist? The art at times feels like that, and I'm not sure where Spicer, what other books he's worked on. Granted, I love the art from this book. It really sort of fits this kind of story. The story is absurdly cool. It centers around Beta Ray Bill. It's really Beta Ray Bill and how he got his groove back, kind of. Like, he can't transform because Stormbreaker's been smashed. He needs to go into the Hell Realm. What's the Hell Realm called? It's probably called like Maelstrom or something weird that I can't remember. Yeah, he's got to go into. Is it called Hell? It is called Hell, isn't
It's
it?
hell, right?
Hel.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. Anyway, so he's got to go into that realm and get a magic sword that will allow him to transform. Meanwhile, the second they enter the realm, his ship Scuttlebutts, which hasn't been brought up in a goddamn long time, Scuttlebutts has become a humanoid robot, like an actual robot. And yeah, this story is really Beta Ray Bill and how he got his groove back. There's more to it. There's Scourge in it, and really Scourge entertains the hell out of me now, and I'm not sure why. So yeah, I loved it. They do actually go down memory lane and go over some of Beta Ray Bill's accomplishments. But I think if you're even remotely a Thor fan, even slightly a Thor fan, we need to tell Laura about this book because she loves Thor, but I don't think she's reading Beta Ray Bill. But nonetheless, you will absolutely love Beta Ray Bill. It's been outstanding. The action's been amazing. But I'm saying that as a heavily biased Beta Ray Bill fan, I just absolutely love the character. I really, really do. What is my Marvel pick of the week? Oh, God. It's what? Beta Ray Bill?
Okay, well,
Captain America?
So Captain America, I like the second story. I didn't like the art on the first story, so I'm not going to pick it. Yeah, I'm going to say it's Beta Ray Bill. It's Beta Ray Bill. And that's our show for this week. So, yeah. Anything else to add, guys? No.
Ucham Hachi will be back in store.
We will have another signing for one of the Batman / League of Legends artists, Hicham Hapshi. He will be in our store signing books. I'm not sure when, but we'll announce it on social media. And that's our show for this week. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. I did it all in an hour. My God, that was a lot of books. My throat hurts, guys. I talk too much. Talk too damn much.